I'm going to take a second to talk to you about underdogs.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Fly, Eagles fly, Eagles on the team. Touchdown, touchdown, time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and it is Philly the podcast. So as per usual, I am joined by my guy Brandon, but today we have a very special guest. We got my guy Conor Myles from Sports Illustrated, Eagles Unfiltered. He does everything. How you doing, Conor?
Going on, man. Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. I know we've been trying to do this, so I'm glad we were able to find some time. And I'm excited to talk about these birds, a little bit of the past and a little bit looking forward. So before we get into that, be sure to let them know where they can find your work, what you do, and just who you are, man.
All right, well, just like everybody, some inside scoop to your audience. I cover the Eagles for Eagle Maven of Sports Illustrated. You can find all my work at si.com/NFL/Eagles, and you'll find Ed Krass's, John McMullen's, my articles all there. And on Twitter at Conor Myles SI. That's CONORMYLES SI. That's where you can find most of my work, because Twitter is really where my domain, not like YouTube, like you guys are. That's where you guys take over. That you guys are really the YouTube guys, that's for sure. Even Joe's in my DMs telling me how to use YouTube. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Actually, thanks for those tips, man. I appreciate that, because I don't know what I'm doing for crap on there. But yeah, just find all my stuff on Twitter, and then at Eagles Unfiltered. That's the podcast where you can find Ed and I, and obviously Philly Sports with Giovanni and the Kelly Green Show. All good stuff there. But I'm excited to talk to you guys. It's been a while. It's been due.
Yeah, definitely. So let's hop right into it, man.
Yeah.
Brandon, we haven't had you on here for a while as well, so I want you to kind of be a guest as well right now. I want to hear your opinions too, but I want to start with you, Conor, on this one. Obviously the Philadelphia Eagles coming off of a tough loss, right? Wasn't an ugly loss, but it was a slow, torturous loss, I guess you can call it. But we are also coming off of a win. So I just want to ask you, what did you see in those last 2 weeks? How are you feeling going into this Dallas week?
I saw a rookie head coach. You know, it's different when you're going up against Atlanta with another rookie head coach who, you know, maybe he's not the guy there. Who knows? But that team looked unprepared in Atlanta. This was Kyle Shanahan's San Francisco 49ers team with D'Amico Ryans, who's been a wild veteran in this league, who knows the ins out of everything. Like, this is what you're going to expect. You're going to see against the Cowboys too. I'm not going to lie. I know Dan Quinn's not a great defensive coordinator, but he's still Dan Quinn. He's been around the league. He's seen different looks from Seattle, Atlanta, and now at Dallas. And Mike McCarthy, I mean, he's been around the league forever. He's worked with Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott. So these are the growing pains we're going to see with Nick Sirianni. He's going against coaches like that. But this team is very talented, and this team can still overcome that stuff. And I actually think they're going to beat Dallas on Monday Night Football. So was I discouraged from what I saw? No, because these and you know, again, I'll tell you guys right now, Jeffrey Lurie expected this. You know, Nick Sirianni's a first-time play caller. Shane Steichen has never called plays either. He's on a minimum basis, he did it with the Los Angeles Chargers. Jonathan Gannon's never called plays either. When they hired this coaching staff, they weren't thinking, we need to see results week one of your rookie seasons. No. We want to see you guys build up so that you can become what Doug Peterson became or win a Super Bowl, and then we can build it long term this time around. So it was against Kyle Shanahan, and it was against a good San Francisco 49ers team. Let's give him credit. Like, Nick Sirianni looked like a rookie head coach. That's something that you hope that, you know, how he answered this press conference this week, he looked like he was humiliated. And that's what you want. That's exactly what you want from him. So he's going to think, I cannot attack the red zone like that. I hope he thinks that, my God. I can't attack the red zone like that ever again. That's embarrassing. I need to be more prepared this week and help out my young quarterback. So, you know, I'm okay with those losses, because this is a long-term product. This isn't something that you're going to see blossom in year one. It does. Yes, in this division, does have potential to win the division, and I think that's what we all get sucked into, thinking like, if we can win this division, this team can make some noise in the playoffs, maybe. But they don't really need to. If they can win this division, that's great. Right. But if they're better than 4-11-1 like they were last year, after everything they've gone to, after all the turnover on the roster, and after losing Brandon Graham, I'm very confident in Nick Sirianni. I'm very confident in Jonathan Gannon, and maybe they actually do have the quarterback in Jalen Hurts. So that's what I'm. Again, I don't need them to be a playoff team in year one with all this new around them. I just needed them to be better than a 4-11-1 team, and for them to show me enough where I'm confident in Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, like I was with Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson after 2016.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was nice to get that win against the Falcons, right? It was nice to go ahead, kind of blow them out in Atlanta. It felt good. It was a great way to start the season. But you bring up a good point. It is Kyle Shanahan and a 49ers team that was in the Super Bowl not too long ago that they, I mean, not Super Bowl, but they made it far and they were good. And like, it's a good team with a great defense. Yeah, they were missing some players, but it was still, like you said, you got DeMeco Ryans there who knows the NFL. And there's just a lot going on. The fact that we hung in there, the fact that our defense was shutting their offense down 90% of that game, and it was basically because we couldn't score, because we wanted to run the Philly special without Doug Peterson. That was just like a curse right there. That was like, never call that again. Doug Peterson held that down, and that's it. But
that was the Philly sewer special.
that was the Philly very regular. That's what that was. I mean, you go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you said it best, kind of. I mean, listen, you brought up Brandon Graham, and that kind of segues me kind of to what I wanted to talk about next. Obviously, the loss, there's 17 games, so we can do with one loss, but there's unfortunately not 17 Brandon Grahams on this roster, and, obviously not 17 Brandon Brooks. But how do you look at these injuries, and how do you think it'll affect this team? And do you think there's some silver lining to this? Because realistically, I'm not saying you ever want someone to go down, obviously. I don't want to say that. But, looking at the guys that we have behind him, like a Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, I know a lot of people are a little upset with him right now. And then you look on the other side, you got a Landon Dickerson, Nate Herbig, Jack Driscoll. You have young options here. So can you find some silver lining? And how do you think these Eagles are going to kind of overcome that battle?
I mean, I think you're describing the silver lining perfectly yourself right there, because the thing is, they have these potentially 3 first-round picks. They need to decide what positions they need to address for these picks. They have holes at linebacker. They have holes at corner. They have holes at defensive end. They don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy. And, honestly, after this year, you're going to know if Jalen Reagor can be it or not, too, to be honest with you. I know it's only going to be year 2, but you're going to know at this point what he can possibly be. You're going to have a little holes to fill real quick. And if Landon Dickerson does actually play well at right guard, who's going to be Kelsey's heir apparent? I don't think it's going to be Herbig. I know they cross-chained it, but who's going to be Kelsey's heir apparent then? So that's a lot of holes, not a lot of top picks to do so. The best thing that Landon Dickerson and Derek Barnett can do is say, hey, I deserve to be starters with this team. I deserve to be invested in going forward. I don't think Derek Barnett is capable of doing that. But that is the silver lining, though, because now he's going to have the opportunity to do so. There is no Josh Sweat on a snap count. There's no holding back, Derek Barnett. Those guys are going to be the predominant starters of defensive end now with Brandon Graham going down. I just don't think Derek Barnett is good enough to do so. That's the thing. And look how deflated that defense got after Brandon Graham left. Like, it does give me some losing Lane Johnson and not having Lane Johnson available to play vibes. And they're under 500 without Lane Johnson. We don't know what they'll be without Brandon Graham. It hasn't been since his rookie year, since he's been off the field like this. So we'll find out. But he's the heart and soul. He's the heart and soul of this team. The only thing that I think is a saving grace of this defense is Rodney McLeod provides a pulse. When he does get back, this secondary is going to be a lot better, and it's going to aid that young defensive line, which is still going to be dominant. Javon Hargrave is the second best defensive lineman in the NFL right now. Period. Right now, how he's playing, he's on Aaron Donald's level. Fletcher Cox is going to get there. He's just going to dominate as usual. It's just going to be Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett's opportunities to shine. Josh Sweat's going to. That's inexcusable to say, hey, we went against one personnel. That's why we put Josh Sweat less on the field and more Ryan Kerrigan and Derek Barnett. Like that excuse won't fly anymore. Now with Brandon Graham gone, so those guys have to be out there. And the silver lining, though, because regardless of what I think, that's just my opinion. The silver lining is Derek Barnett can prove to them, I deserve the second contract. You have your 2 future starters at defensive end. You don't have to worry about BG and his rehab when he's coming back at 34 years old with a huge cap hit coming off Achilles. You have your 2 future starters at defensive end. Go take those picks and put them somewhere else. That's the silver lining. And Nate Herbig, if Landon Dickerson proves that he's not ready and he's rusty and that ACL is going to take some time where he shouldn't be out there right now, Nate Herbig's just fine. He's proved to be just fine in right guard.
And I want to quickly just piggyback on that, just for a second before you go, Brandon. But if you look at our defensive end history, obviously we have some very nice history in the McNabb years, but just kind of like the safety position, we've been going through a lot of. We've had Brandon Graham here all the time, but there's never been that duo that we could look at and be like, Trent Cole and I'm drawing blanks right now. It's too late.
Even Trent Cole didn't have a duo. He had like Jason Babin for like a year, and that was it. Yeah,
we always had those duos, and right now I just don't feel like we've had that in a while. So hopefully this can be it. Hopefully this can be the, like you said, they go out there and show and prove that they deserve a contract. Because I love Derek Barnett, I love Josh Sweat. I feel like they're very similar in the skill set. I feel like they've been very similar in the bad parts of what they are, as far as getting injured a lot and not really being available that much. And but Derek Barnett, you make a bonehead decision like that. I mean, something's got to happen, right? You can't just say we held him accountable and he's out there for.
He's lucky BG's injured. Again. He's lucky.
He really is. He really is.
I don't even care that he's injured. Put him on the bench. Give Taron Jackson a chance, because I am worried about Ryan Kerrigan. They really thought Ryan Kerrigan could be like they're chasing the ghost of Chris Long. Really, to be honest with you, they should have drafted defensive end earlier, because this is a league where you can draft a defensive end in the 3rd and 4th round, and that's still a good pick, even if you have 2 starters at defensive end. You need 4 pass rushers in this league at the edge, so they could have done that, and they would have been fine. Because Ryan Kerrigan, when his lone pressure against the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy G got away from him easily.
Yeah,
without minimal effort. And I my co-host had debated. He's like, well, he's been injured. His hand's been injured. What does that do with him running and getting into that? That has nothing to do with his defensive end to me. So I am worried about defensive end. I am worried about the defense, because Brandon Graham is the heart and soul of this team. Now, when you get Ronnie McLeod back, though, you have Jonathan Gannon, who specializes in the secondary. You have to really have your first-year defensive coordinator lean on what he knows best and help aid that defensive line group, because other than DeForest Buckner, the Indianapolis Colts just had some guys as well. So this is a similar situation, if you ask me. This is the right coach to handle it. But again, the silver lining just has to be Derek Barnett has to step up and so prove to this team I deserve a second contract, because right now Josh Sweat's the only one who got it.
Right, and I kind of want to go deeper with that, right? I feel like this is like a low-key like storyline where we have a 1st-round pick that's on the bubble in a sense in Derek Barnett, whereas his quote-unquote backup, not like a year ago, got his extension already. The guy that who Joe just said has been kind of injured, banged up here and there, but he's shown flashes of being really dominant when he plays. What do you guys think is the main issue with Derek Barnett? Why is he not the guy? I mean, he had that big fumble recovery in the Super Bowl. He's made plays. He also has bonehead penalties, but what's really his problem that he's not getting the extension that maybe he feels like he might deserve?
He never lived up to the potential that the team thought he could be. He never was the Reggie White at Tennessee sack record holder in the NFL. Every pass rush he does, he never finishes it. And that you can't give a second contract to a defensive end like that. He reminds me so much of Shaq Lawson. I don't know if you guys know Shaq Lawson, defensive end. He was drafted by the Buffalo Bills 1st round. He's on multiple teams now. The guy can get to the quarterback, but he can never finish his pass rushes. So it doesn't matter which round you get drafted in. If you generate that pressure, that's fine. But if you can't follow through with it, you're not getting a second contract in this league. It's just how it goes, time in, time out. The one thing that, and this is a way far back thing, but when the Eagles brought Javon Curson, that was his huge problem. He never finished his pass rush. A 5th-round pick in Trent Cole came out of nowhere and took his job easily when Javon Curse got injured, because he finishes his pass rush and then became one of the Eagles' best pass rushers of all time, second actually, really, behind Reggie White. Josh Sweat is a much better pass rusher than Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett is much better against the run. That's why, I understood the excuse when they came out in the presser and said, yeah, well, the 49ers run 21 personnel. We wanted to match it with our best run defenders on the edge. I get it. But when in a league where you have to get after the quarterback and a Jimmy Garoppolo quarterback that makes a lot of mistakes, get your best pass rushers out there. And Derek Barnett just proved to you guys this past Sunday, he's just not that. He was on the field so long, and only time he made an impact is when he got the negative play, the penalty. It's just time to call a spade and realize he never lived up to that top 15 potential. They have to move on, and they have to focus on somebody else, because this isn't Jim Schwartz's defense anymore. That was a Jim Schwartz player. Like, they got to move on and figure it. They decided Josh Sweat is going to be a Jonathan Gannon player. Whether it's Jonathan Gannon or not, because if Jonathan Gannon does which I think he's going to get a head coaching job sooner or later. You know, so far so good, and he's living up to the bill. But he's just a stud. Even if he moves on, it's probably going to be Nick Rallis as the next defensive coordinator. So they have to keep building this product to decide who's going to be the core of this nucleus defense going forward. And they already decided by paying Josh Sweat. To me, right now, it's not going to be Derek Barnett. The only way Derek Barnett could do so is, like Joe said earlier, if he takes advantage of his opportunity, which we'll see.
Yeah, and I'll go even deeper. I mean, he never got that second tool. You know, he's came to the job with the same, you know, hammer for the past 3 or 4 years now. You know, coming out of college, you look at his skill set, and it was you know, limited. He was great at what he did. He had that dip move, and he was amazing at it. Right?
Exactly.
He was very speedy, but he never worked on his craft, so he never got that second tool, as you want to call it. So if you do that, you know, you become dispensable. And, you know, just to kind of go, and we're going to stop talking about the past and go into the Cowboys, but you bring this up and, you know, Derek Barnett is a run stopping guy. And there was so many times on those pitches and, you know, end arounds that he was just over pursuing, had no idea where he was on the field. And it's like, if that's the one thing you can prove that we need you for, and you're just not going to do that. There's guys, Patrick Johnson on this team making plays. You know, you look at realistically, I know it wasn't a beautiful game for him as far as like the results. But if you look at Anthony Harris, man, I watched that all 22 and like Harris was everywhere. Like Harris was lit. He may not have made every play, but he literally was where the ball was every single play. Like, so I think that there's
social media takes one bad play and then acts like the player is awful. Because that pass interference is awful. Mohamed Sanu shouldn't even be in the league anymore. Like that was so terrible. I understand people coming at him, but Anthony Harris is keeping that secondary afloat just as much as anybody else. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. And like I said, I was gonna do like a film review on it, but honestly, I got so, you know, dived so deep into the Cowboys week, I forgot. But it's true. You watch that game, and it's just Anthony Harris before the snap runs up to the field to tell the person where he's supposed to be, and ends up being half of the guy making the tackle. So
McLeod's back.
It's going to be crazy.
Guys, Darius Slay's going to be in the Pro Bowl this year. It's because he only has to focus on one assignment. And those safeties are going to cover so much field and give so much support. That's going to be that defense is going to be the bright side of this team, no matter what they finish, no matter how they finish. Because even if Jonathan Gannon does move on and he does, I don't think he will be one and done. But if he does, Nick Rallis is going to be just fine. He's going to handle it just fine. So he is a Jonathan Gannon disciple.
That's an interesting take. I haven't heard anybody bring up Nick Rallis as a possible. What makes you feel that way? What makes you feel like because he's young. He's a young guy.
That's a handpicked Jonathan Gannon guy. And they come from that Minnesota, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the Mike Zimmer type defense, really. I know we're all focused on what they did in Indianapolis, but it's more of what it comes from Mike Zimmer. So that's just me thinking. So it's going to be Nick Rallis, but look who else? It's not going to be Denard Wilson. I don't think it's going to be Denard Wilson. He's a good DB coach, but I think they'll keep him in this position. And then Tracy Rocker is not going to be more than defensive line coach in the NFL. So Nick Rallis is young in this league, and a lot of people like him. They think he's a future defensive coordinator for sure. I don't know if it's going to be with the Eagles specifically, but because if Jonathan Gannon doesn't get a head coaching job, Nick Rallis might get a defensive coordinator job. That's for sure. I know people are going to look at the linebackers and think it depends how the Eagles linebackers fare, but that's not how the NFL looks at coaches. You know, definitely. You have to look what he did in Minnesota with how he helped out Minnesota. I mean, you know, Eric Wilson played well in Minnesota because it's easy when you have Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. So far, he's been awful with the Eagles. And I don't put that on Nick Rallis. I put that on just, you know, the Eagles not investing in that position. Because at the end of this is what they're going to finally have to do with this defense. The one issue they have is that linebacker stopping the run. You know, it's not like Jim Schwartz's defensive line where you stop the run and that defensive line is predicated on doing so. It's the linebackers got to fill the gap real quick and stop the run. They don't have the linebackers to do so. I like Alex Singleton a lot, but again, he has to be the second fiddle guy to a Darius Leonard, an Eric Kendricks type guy. You know, they're going to have to draft one early. You're going to have to pay one big bucks in free agency and finally invest in this position if this defense is going to have to reach its potential.
Yeah, or get very lucky, you know. Just get very lucky.
Or get lucky that Davion Taylor's it. Because I don't want to give up on Davion Taylor yet because you know they like him a lot. They do want to give him an opportunity.
Taylor. he's one of those guys too that kind of flashes off the tape. He's not when he's in the play, he has the speed to make up for maybe the lack
His
of
athleticism
knowledge
pops
that,
off
you know.
the tape
And
for sure.
so let's get to the Cowboys game real quick. I want to ask both of you guys. We're getting into Cowboys week. This is gonna. I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I've had I guess you can call it pleasure of having a lot of Cowboy creators on the channel already. Gonna have more, so I'm gonna hear a lot of delusion. So it is what it is. But what are you guys looking at for this game against the Cowboys? What does this team have to prove to you? What does this team have to show you in order to win this game?
Well, I mean, I'll start off with yeah. The Eagles are not going to get swept by Dallas this year. I'll just say number one. It's not going to happen. They're going to win one, and I think Dallas is going to win one. The Eagles are going to win this one, though. Dallas is going to play down to the Eagles and not expect what they're going to hit them in the mouth with. That's all I'm going to say. The Chargers could easily win that game. The referees decided otherwise, but I really think the Eagles are going to win this game. I do believe they're going to. I don't think they're going to think Jalen Hurts is going to be what he was last year when they played, and that's how what's going to happen. It's going to be completely different, and I think both him and Nick Sirianni are really going to sit back and reflect on how poorly they played, how poorly they were produced this past Sunday, and it's going to be a whole different effort. I'm really confident they win this game. I do, like I said, I do think they will split the series with Dallas this year, but this one they're going to win.
No, you drew that point. I mean, even last week, Justin Herbert, there was, I think, one interception in the end zone where Keenan Allen slipped and he ended up throwing an interception. I mean, it was a crowded area anyways, but the Chargers could have played better and they could have won that game. Now, that being said, I feel like, and I can get your guys' opinion on this, is that a guy like, what's his name from Penn State? I'm already drawing a blank on his name.
Micah Parsons.
Michael Parsons. He's going out.
Don't do my boy like that, man. Don't do my
Terminator
boy like that.
and saying that he's going to put Jalen Hurts on a hit list and all that. So we're getting some bulletin board material, and I feel like Joe has been mentioning this. Is that week one? I think we were like we threw the ball in the air the shortest, and then last week it was like the longest. They were just airing it out. Hopefully, this game 3 is that happy medium. I think Joe was mentioning that earlier in his live that we need that happy medium. We need to be able to hit those intermediate routes while also utilizing the short game. I think Miles Sanders, and I mentioned this last Sunday before the game, I was hoping that Miles would get at least 20 carries and then some receptions on top of that, and he end up getting like 13 carries and 1 reception. We're not going to win games. We're not going to beat Dallas. We're not going to beat pretty much anyone if we're not running the ball at all. And that was like a PTSD moment from like the Doug Peterson last year where we weren't utilizing the players that we have at running back, and I think we have some solid running backs in order to use them. So I do think we need to run the ball. But do you guys think that Micah Parsons is in a position at this early in his career to be calling himself the Terminator and calling out quarterbacks and everything?
Keep giving Lane Johnson bulletin board material, man. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
I love Micah Parsons. I'm a Penn State fan. It hurts me every week to see him out there in a Cowboys jersey. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, but Micah, calm down a little bit. You had one very good game at defensive end. You have not played Lane Johnson. Like, even if you move on over to the other side, which I was asking a lot of Cowboys people, like, do you think that's something you might do if he starts struggling against Lane Johnson? Because it's very, very possible that is what's going to happen. And he's probably their best pass rusher right now. So, I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to get frustrated. We're going to see. Like, one thing I will say about him in Penn State is that when he gets mad, it's very obvious that he's mad. And I think we're going to see him out there getting frustrated a lot because it's not going to be easy. And, to Conor's point, this is not the team from last year. To your point, Brandon, this is not the team from last week. Shoot, we might not be the team from week 1. We don't even know who we are. So I think that we have to find that what was the 3 bears thing? They find the perfect bed or whatever. That's what we got to do. We got to sit in that third bed and be like, all right, this is perfect. But let me ask you guys this. This is the final question I really want to ask. Looking at this game, who are 3 taking out Jalen Hurts? Because I feel like that's a little bit too easy for us. I'm gonna make it tough on us. I know it's 9:30, but hey, it is what it is. But looking at 3 guys, offense or defense, who are some guys you're keying in on that really need to shine this week for us to come out here and get this victory?
It's got to be Miles Sanders. I agree. They in such a young offense where you're trying to establish more of an 11 personnel look, you need to establish the run if you want to get these young guys, receivers in rhythm and motion and get them working well. So I always believed that, Miles Sanders had to be the vocal part of this offense this year. And I still believe it. And I think that's what Nick Sirianni has to lean on. I think that's what, if he has anything to reflect on, it has to be Miles Sanders has to be the guy. Even if it's going to be Kenny Gainwell sprinkled in, the running game has to be what they lean on the most, especially with Jalen Hurts' mobility. I would hope that they rein it in and say, you know what? Let's let the run game dictate what we can do in the pass and let Jalen Hurts do what he does best and take what the defense gives him. That's the perfect game plan. That's how you win. So Miles Sanders could dominate against this, especially with Michael Parsons moving to defensive end. Now you're telling me that Jalen Smith, who is completely done, is going to be covering the run game sideline to sideline with Leighton Vander Esch. I'm not worried. Like that's advantage Eagles, run the ball. And Jordan Mailata is playing like the third best left tackle in football. So move Parsons around all you want. That's fine. Even attack Dickerson if you want to. Let's have a welcome to the NFL moment. He can deserve it. But I'm not concerned about Dallas's pass rush without DeMarcus Lawrence. Even if Parsons is playing as well as he is, the right tackle matchup last week against the Los Angeles Chargers was in favor of him anyways. It's not this week. So even at left tackle, it's not this week. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think
Miles Sanders, my answer.
I'm going to stay on the offense, and I'm going to go with Landon Dickerson. I think that this is a week where they're really going to need to prep him. They're going to have to get our best fastest, like Josh Sweat doing stunts or something, because I feel like that's something that Dallas might try to do, where Micah Parsons does line up on the outside, but then stunts inside and maybe kind of tries to get him confused and stuff like that. So, and I know he's been practicing center throughout this whole time, and now they have him at right guard. So obviously he's a big guy. Everyone's been praising him, but he definitely has a big test because one, he's coming in it's early in the season, but it's one of our biggest games of the season. Like Dallas week is huge in Philly. It is what it is. We could be 0-15, and when we're playing Dallas, it's a whole different energy as if it's still 0-0. So he's going to have to come in, and he's going to have to hopefully hold his ground, because surrounded by him are good offensive linemen. A healthy Kelsey, a healthy Lane, a healthy Sayamalu right now, and Mailata's proven himself. He has everyone else around him. He can't be the weakest link. It's fine if he's not the best out of everyone, but he can't show that they can bully him right there, because that's going to throw it all off. And I don't want to see Hurts have to run 10 plus times again. I don't want to see him running too many times throughout the season. We have an extra game this season, and we can't afford for anything to happen to him and him just throwing his body out there, because he's going to have to run away from the pocket. So I think Landon Dickerson is going to have a big matchup this week, and that's going to be an important player for us.
I respect that. I got to say Jalen Reagor, I mean, after his press conference today, honestly, that whole listen, I don't force my leadership on nobody. I just kind of do what I do. Like, all right, show me something, big dog. Let me see what you got. Because he was talking a little slide today, and it's cool. I'm happy about that. I want you to say that you can be a leader, that you can step up, even if it's just by example. But let's see it. I think that he has some great plays. I think that he has to technique-wise get better and make sure that he's not getting pushed out of bounds. But maybe that's a learning moment. Maybe that's something that he can fix this week, and he can make that into a touchdown. So I want to see Jalen Reagor go out there and ball out. If we're gonna go all offense, we might as well, right? Go all the way with the offense. Right? So hopefully Jalen Reagor can ball out, and that opens up. I will say though,
they're gonna pick it on Vontae Maddox.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna try to scheme up CeeDee Lamb against Vontae Maddox, and not only that, Cedric Wilson too. He's stepping up big time for replacing Michael Gallup. So Vontae Maddox is gonna have a big game. He's gonna have to step up this week.
I feel like all our DBs are going to have to all step up.
They do. Yeah, they are. This would be a big test.
As much as I hate the Cowboys, Amari Cooper's route running is pretty crazy when he's on. When he's full go, that guy is super hard to stop. I mean, even as Ronald Darby, the dude tore his ACL is trying to guard Amari. So Amari, when he's I feel like defensive backs they're gonna have their hands full. It is what it is. So that's when our pass rush is really going to need to step up, like a Derek Barnett.
Facts. So I know I'm saying a dub. I'm saying a win. Brandon, do we have you on record as a win?
Of course.
All right, I just want to make sure. I didn't want to talk for you. You know what I'm saying? And Connor, you seem confident that this is going to be a dub for the Eagles as well.
Yeah, I know Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn too well. They're going to play down to the Eagles, and that's going to be played right into their pockets.
Definitely. So everybody let me know in the comments what you guys think. Drop some score predictions, whatever you guys want to do. But tomorrow we will be back. I got DJ Eastwood from Run It Back podcast. Then we got a whole bunch of Cowboy fans, unfortunately, or Cowboy content creators, I should say, on the channel. And Skywalker Steel. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll definitely see you guys tomorrow. Is there anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
Thanks you guys for having me on. You already let me shout out the show and everything in the beginning. I think people understood it. I appreciate talking ball with you guys. It was awesome.
Definitely. We're gonna do this again, man. And I left all your information down below. So definitely they're gonna go check you out, show that love. You know what I'm saying? It's always Eagles. So other than that, y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
Philadelphia
John
Eagles.
Dornbos here, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Edwards of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Follow my guy Joe Castro on his YouTube/podcast channel.
Let's give a shout out to the Philly podcast.
Shout out Philly and my guy Joe Castro. So keep on doing great things, guys. Fly Eagles Fly.
Fly Eagles Fly.
Go Birds.